the Big 12 has the SEC to thank for potentially losing one of its best traditions. Yes, thank you, SEC. And, well, frankly, the Big 12 has gambling to thank for gaining a new one, okay? At least there's a new tradition to gain here. So let's start with this. Ross Dellinger kicked all of this off. Yahoo Sports, one of the best in the game, if not the best, when it comes to newsbreakers. And this kind of made me chuckle because it made me think back to last year, man. It made me think back to everything that happened last season. Let's check this one out. Big 12 ADs this week voted 15-1. Oh, sorry. We've still got Mr. Drinkwitz there. My apologies, everybody. Oh, all right. Let me just read it to you. Ross Dellinger says Big 12 ADs this week voted 15-1 to solidify an existing game management policy related to the throwing of items onto the playing surface. A team will receive warnings for the first 2 violations in a game before 15-yard penalties could begin. All right. So what that is, if people are throwing stuff onto the field, you get 1 warning, you get 2 warnings, then you're getting 15-yard penalties. And I couldn't help but just think like this, right? I mean, this is the SEC's fault. Like when I say throwing things onto the field, what do you think of in college football? Well, if you're a Big 12 fan like me, you do remember Colorado fans throwing batteries and battery snowballs and getting an entire student section kicked out of a Nebraska game once upon a time. But you also think about Texas, Georgia from last year when Texas fans literally like bullied the officiating crew into changing a call by throwing a bunch of stuff on the field. And then there was all this concern like, all right, well, what precedent did that set? And then Ole Miss, LSU, they had incidents as well that they got fined for last year. It was like $350 and $250K. And like, yeah, you can fine the schools, but if you really want to get the fans to stop in the moment, you kind of have to lay down the law with like penalties. Like if you're actually going to be thwarting your team's chances of winning the game by throwing stuff on the field, that can be a deterrent. So, I know I saw some grumbling about this. Like I get why the Big 12 would feel the need to do this. If you really want to make sure that you've got a deterrent from fans doing this, this is the way. I mean, this is the way to do it. But I can also see if you're a Texas Tech fan and your big tradition, and frankly, I mean, one of the coolest traditions in the Big 12 is throwing the tortillas on the field. You're like, wait, what the hell, man? Like, because Texas couldn't maintain its composure in a game against Georgia where, its offense just looked dreadful throughout the entire game. Because Texas can't maintain its composure, we've got to do away with one of our best traditions. Like, what the hell is that? Also extremely ironic, Tech fans, the irony is not lost on me that, yes, I've seen Texas fans come at you guys for what happened, when Chris Beard showed up at Texas and Texas Tech fans are just, they're mean and dirty and all this. And then it's Texas that's forcing everybody to insert these rules about throwing objects onto the field because of what they did. Like, come on, man. I'm not naive enough to think, by the way, that the SEC is like the only place where something like this could happen, which again is why I say I understand why you do it. I understand why you put this rule in place, but that sucks. Like, what are you going to do about this tradition? I mean, you can still throw tortillas to start the game, I suppose, but if you're going to do it every time Tech scores, I mean, they're going to be scoring more than 3 times in a game. You would, I guess, be getting penalties unless. Now we got a tweet today, so I will read you the Texas Tech response here, which came from Kirby Hocutt on Twitter. Kirby said, "Red Raiders, the rules can change, but our tradition will not." And then how about the United West Texas opening kickoff tortilla launch? And then he hashtag 15-1. So you know who the guy was that voted against it. I like that from Kirby Hocutt. There is, like, I would hope that they could get together and be like, hey, like, let's just let cooler heads prevail here and say we can use some common sense. And if it's Texas Tech and their tortillas, let's not penalize them for that if they're doing it. I mean, especially if it's like, if you're doing it at the appropriate times and you're not specifically chucking a tortilla at somebody, let's let that happen and make sure that we're using this for, somebody launching a Gatorade bottle at a ref on the sideline because they don't like a call, right? College football season is here, guys, and that means we all need to find good deals on tickets, all right? And the best place to do that is SeatGeek. Have to give a huge shout out to SeatGeek, the sponsor of today's video. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are over 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek. So obviously, college football is covered, but if you're a music guy like me, it's perfect for concerts. I'm buying a ton of concert tickets this fall. And I tell you what, I have my eye on those Holy War tickets for BYU and Utah coming up as well. And man, all you got to do is open up the app. It's perfect. You can go check what's going on here, find the green dots in the seat. That means they're good deals. Red dots, maybe not so much, but SeatGeek will help you find the best deals on seats depending on where it is that you are trying to sit. They're each rated on a scale of 1 to 10. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And you guys know I'm here for you. I've got a code for you. Code Kurtz gets you $20 off your tickets. Again, that's code Kurtz for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. $20 off your first purchase with promo code Kurtz. Make sure you just click the link in the description to download the app and have that code on hand and ready to go. Guys, I'm here to help you out. I've got your back. Hit up my friends at SeatGeek. There is also, I saw people talking about, well, hey, what if I'm an opposing fan? I'm a visiting fan and I go into the stadium and I start throwing stuff on the field to try and pick up a penalty that would work against the home team or whatever. I see it's college football. Look, we had Harvey Updike. He went and poisoned a tree. Like, I'm sure I wouldn't put it past somebody to try and do something like that, but I would think you could maybe snuff some of that out. But you got to consider everything. You got to think of all angles. Anyway, I don't know what the ultimate thing is going to be, what the end of all of this is going to be, if Texas Tech is going to be fine with that. My hope would be you can still uphold this rule and say, Tech, we'll give you a little bit of leniency here because that's a cool tradition. Like, we do not need to be in the business of losing college football traditions. We've lost enough of them with realignment, not playing enough games against regional teams. We do not need to be in the business of losing a cool tradition like that because Texas lost its mind last year against Georgia. Okay, we should not be doing that. Now, the Big 12 in other news is gaining a nice tradition, and this one is nice, even though it's basically because of sports betting. It's because of gambling, but the Big 12 is going to begin releasing public availability reports, according to On3. Big 12 athletic directors voted Wednesday to start using availability reports in football and then men's and women's basketball. So ACC, Big 10, SEC, they all do this already, similar to an NFL injury report that you would see. The logistics of this, so Big 12 will require teams to provide daily reports 3 days before game day and a final one 90 minutes before kickoff. So, you'll get one if you're playing on Saturday. You would get one, 3 days before game day. So, yeah, it would Thursday, Friday, Saturday then, or are we talking Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Either way, I guess it'd be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you get one 90 minutes before kickoff. So, that's crazy. That's quite a bit. And there's a part of me that initially hears this as somebody that covered Bill Snyder's program, a man who infamously did not want to divulge a single tidbit or morsel of any kind of injury info ever. Thinking, man, that guy would have quit before he would have done that. I feel like a lot of the more old school coaches who would be totally against this probably are out at this point, or it's just another thing now. There's so much. Any coach would be kind of inclined to hate that. I feel like has to just hate so much more about what's happening in college athletics now that this just doesn't register as like a 5-alarm fire anymore because there's so much BS that they're already putting up with in college sports these days. So anyway, the designations will be available, probable, questionable, doubtful, or out. Okay, that's for football. For basketball, it's available, game time decision, or out. So from a media content standpoint, I love it. That was half the deal with I talked about press conferences being boring earlier, right? Not paying $700 to go see a press conference, but half the battle and half of what you were trying to do in a Bill Snyder press conference back in the day was like, can you find some creative way to pull any little teeny tiny bit of injury info out, or like from a player? Or, I mean, we didn't really get assistance with Coach Snyder, so you couldn't really do that either. Like, is there any way we can secure some little morsel about an injury from something? So now you just get it right out there, have a better idea. Theoretically, yes, I suppose you could be lying about it. But, let's cut to the chase. This is all happening because of gambling, for sure. Jim Phillips admitted this when talking about the ACC doing it recently. He said there's stresses on our student athletes from individuals who are trying to get information. Sometimes it's pretty innocent. They just want to know because they're a big fan, but other times it leads into the gambling and sports wagering path. Yeah, I think a lot of times there. So, yeah, if it's truly hey, let's take some pressure off these guys so they're not getting hounded with DMs about will you play, will you not play, totally fine with it. I'm cool with that. I understand it's a reality. And again, from a content standpoint, from a curiosity standpoint, it will be very helpful. Instead of having to like scour Twitter for different beat writers, specific injury reports on guys and what they're hearing from people, this will streamline a lot more of that. It will make my life easier. At least I will say that. And I hope it makes the life of the student athletes easier as well.